week, Liberal MP Julia Banks said she could live off $40 per day, despite records indicating that there are virtually no rentals available that Newstart recipients can afford, making the benefit seemingly impossible to live on. When will the Newstart rate be lifted to support people who are not working?
Tim Wilson.
Well, thanks very much for the question. And the Newstart, I don't know when it's going to be lifted, but it's obviously something that comes up periodically and it's come up in this topic.
Well, what about tomorrow? There's a good opportunity. There's something called the budget.
Well, if you know something I know about the budget, Tony, you can always announce it on national television. But it goes to the critical point, which is Newstart something that people can live on easily? And the short answer is no. I couldn't live it on my current lifestyle. I'm not trying to pretend otherwise, and that's what Julia Banks was saying.
No, she wasn't. She was saying she could live off it.
Well, she wasn't. She said she could live off it, but in the context she couldn't live in her current lifestyle. But yes, you can live on it, but it is very, very difficult, and no one's pretending otherwise. But it's part of a rich matrix of our social safety net. People on Newstart often get other support measures and other concessions available to them, some from the state government, some from the federal government. But very much the focus of Newstart is that people don't end up there. The social safety net is supposed to be a trampoline. It's not supposed to be a hammock where people get used to it and accommodated to it.
Now, Tim, I'm just going to break in there because the economist Chris Richardson, he's very far from being a screaming socialist, you'd have to agree. He says the level of dole payments is unnecessarily cruel and that they should be raised by at least $50 a week.
Well, I disagree with Chris Richardson.
Cost of $3 billion on the budget.
Because every dollar that's taken to give to some people means it has to be taken from other people. And you can live on Newstart. It's not an easy lifestyle. No one's pretending otherwise. But when
I'm going to interrupt you there once more because I noticed our questioner was shaking her head. What do you think about the idea that you can live off $50 a day? $40 a day, actually.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it. I think it is unnecessarily cruel. I think there are a lot of people suffering in Australia, and I think you really need to lift it. It's unfair.
Tim, quick response, and I'll go to the other panellists.
Well, Of course, the people who are on it are always going to want more money, but the reality is that money has to be taken from someone else. And one of the things, you do have to make sacrifices, that's true. When I was at university or when I was on assistance and benefits, you couldn't live by yourself, you couldn't live independently. You actually needed to pool your money because you needed to share with other people because the biggest cost was housing. Then it's public transport where you get concessions. Then it's energy bills, which is why we've been focused very much on making sure that people can move off Newstart and get into jobs. The government has been delivering 1,100 jobs a day to try and provide not that safety net as a hammock, but a safety net as a trampoline so people can stand on their own 2 feet and be able to move off.
All right, we'll just jump off the trampoline for a minute. Jeremy, I can see you want to get in here.
Well, look, Tim, I mean, you're absolutely right. The money has to come from somewhere else. But that's precisely why the sort of $65 billion proposed of business tax cuts, that's a fantastic place to take the money to increase the lives and the livelihoods of ordinary people.
Well, what we're trying to do is make sure we have the jobs so that people don't stay on Newstart, so that we can actually generate the jobs that actually allow people to live lives independently, with dignity, with choice.
What type of jobs are they? Because there has to be the available skill set in order to meet that. Because a lot of people end up on Newstart not because they don't have the job availability, but it's that we don't actually have the skills a lot of the time to meet these types of jobs that your government is actually putting in place.
Well, I don't agree. I mean, that's a pretty broad-based statement. I mean, there's been a huge growth in the number of full-time jobs in the economy so that people actually do have those choices, and it's across the whole economy, across the whole country.
OK, Tim, we've got you bookended by progressive thought here, but I'm just going to go across the other end of the table.